I fit in the AI in my day-to-day activities. First, when I have large set of inputs, now when I have good number of customer feedback, to requests, or internal ideas from the team, I use, of course, AI to cluster and synthesize themes, break down or categorize them, play a devil's advocate, in terms of as a customer, as my boss, and even identify some of the potential risks. And then there are Google agent space, for example, which lets you or guides you, in terms of the right prioritization. We need to be very careful about the fact that AI may not have full context. AI cannot be a decision maker.
Hi everyone, I'm Sathy, and today I have a really exciting guest, someone who's made a fascinating journey from an engineer to a product manager, and now is building AI for one of the most human centered areas in fintech. Sandeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sati.
Great. So, Sandeep brings about 2 decades of experience building products. Sandeep, can you please tell us a bit more about your journey?
Sure. I am Sandeep Manepalli Gururaj, and I'm a senior product manager at Pegasystems. I lead the products in the customer service and collection space, especially for financial services.
So, Sandeep, you've spent years as a developer before moving into product. So, what is that one engineering habit that you had to brutally kill to become a successful product manager?
There are two things which I can think of really, really on the top of my head. First is, as engineers, as developers, the intention or the mindset is to jump onto solution. Like if there is a problem coming in, okay, how can I fix this? How can I solve this? How can I address this issue? I mean, these are the things that we usually get into. But as a product manager, I need to think about the why. Why am I supposed to fix this? Why am I supposed to solve this problem? That's something that I have tried to inculcate over the last many years right now. And that's one of the things I still get involved, in solutioning part when with my development team, like I do a brainstorming with them, and we do a lot of whiteboarding. We do a lot of discussions on performance impacts, scalability, security checks, and things like that. But yeah, that's one of the habits that I think I have not been able to kill. But yeah, from a functional perspective, I need to do that thing. And the second thing I think is the concept of letting go of the ownership. Like once I fix the issue, I'm done. Okay, I don't want to own this thing, and that's the one with which product managers like me can't forego. It's my product. I own this. So I own the outcomes. I own the results. I own whatever happens to this. So that's the other thing which I would say it's hard to let go of things.
What about the prioritization model that you use? How does your approach shift across the different stages of the product?
Okay, for me, prioritization is not a one-time activity. It is, I would say, a continuous process, a continuous synergy between three things. One is the business goals that you want to achieve for your organization. And the second one is the customer needs. And the third one is the technical realities or limitations that you might have. So often I may want to build a big, very huge, hugely automated solution. Does technology favor? I mean, are the customers ready for it? Those are the questions that I need to ask myself. So that is where I would call as a synergy. So it's not like, oh, I build today and I forget about it. I need to also constantly think about how do I improve that as and when I get new technology advancements, or as and when there are new regulations or new goals that we have to achieve and things like that. So there are, of course, frameworks, like a lot of frameworks like RISE, Moscow, Impact and Effort. Um, these are, to me, these are like tools. I would consider them as tools and guiding factors, and not really as the mandates as such. So in our setup, like in our organization, a big part of the prioritization is also influenced by there are time-bound milestones. For example, we have the annual conferences. There's one coming up in June. And then there are the yearly sales kickoff that happens once in a year. And then there are analyst briefings, analyst reviews, and then Then there are product releases as well. So we have couple of releases every year. So with these things, it is important to plan out what you can achieve and by when you can achieve in the amount of time that we have. How can we prioritize things? And what is the best value that we can give to our customers? That's what is a big thing for me. So at a high level, there's always a top down layer, wherein the organization leadership, beyond my pay grade, of course, the decisions are taken at strategic levels, in terms of market positioning, in terms of what, as an organization, what do we want to emphasize as a key message for this year, for the next 2 years. And then there is inputs like, customer driven feedback and issues. These are the areas which I actually have my ears on, and any insights that I can get from the implementation teams across the globe, that is the thing which also adds up to prioritization. So I would generally categorize, or rather have some buffer divided between both these categories, things from strategic perspective, which are driven top down, and things which are from bottom up, like the customer needs and feedbacks and issues, or any kind of insights that I get from the implementation teams.
So you're building AI for collections, which is a high stakes, very stressful experience for customers. So how do you design an algorithm that knows when to stop being a debt collector and start being a human?
Okay. Uh, I would say I use AI as a thinking partner, not a decision maker. Often we try to leave it to AI. That's not the right way to do. So there are few ways it fits. I fit in the AI in my day-to-day activities. First, when I have large set of inputs, when I have good number of customer feedback, requests, or internal ideas from the team, I use, of course, AI to cluster and synthesize themes, break down or categorize them instead of going through everything manually. It's easier sometimes to write a little prompt and then try to categorize them. This gives me a faster starting point. It's easier to find out what are the common themes, what are the common aspects, and what's the most asked of features as such, things like that. Second, in terms of trying to test my own thinking or thought process. For example, I'm prioritizing a feature. I might ask AI, ChatGPT, for example, to evaluate it from a different perspectives. Play a devil's advocate, in terms of as a customer, as my boss, and even identify some of the potential risks as well. So this is something that I've recently started doing it, and I wouldn't say I'm clearly master of it, but I want to definitely evolve this thing and see how best I can fit into this world of AI. And of course, there are tools which lets you prioritize things, and then there are Google Agent Space, for example, which lets you or guides you, in terms of the right prioritization as well, from a lot of sources that you can think of. Yeah, that's the thing. The other big thing which I use AI is in terms of demo story narration, or in terms of exploring the world. The other thing which I use AI is for kind of any kind of a deep research activities.
What's your secret framework for saying not now to a high ranking stakeholder without burning the bridge?
That's a good question. Okay, I don't think of it as saying no. Not now may not be no. Okay. I think of it as being focused, protecting your focus area while you're still maintaining the trust with the stakeholder. That's what it is. And so I think the first thing that I would probably do is, sit together, align, start by understanding what they are really trying to achieve, listen to them, and then understand, ask questions to understand it better. And then, of course, the second thing is to acknowledge, that, okay, this is definitely a problem. I understand where you're coming from. And so the reason why we are doing this thing is this helps build a trust, you know. That's what is more important thing than actually doing what they've asked for. Third thing which I would do is kind of reframe that one, in the context that we have, that I am currently in. Often I have come across, in terms of the release deadlines, as I mentioned, or the current priority items that we have on any kind of a limitations as such, or dependencies with other teams as well. So there is what it is. But the most important thing that I can think many examples as well, in terms of, is the path forward. What is the way forward that we need to go? Because if I say no, it's easier to say no, of course, but the more difficult thing is, how can we move forward and still have that trust and confidence from the stakeholder, whoever it is. So that's the thing. So we need to have a plan devised. Is this something that I can't do it right now, but maybe in the next release, maybe in the next year, or what is the plan? So have that kind of a build some common understanding of that, and chalk out a plan for that. That would be a big thing. But it also calls for a follow up action as well. So otherwise, you might lose trust, if not today, maybe 6 months down the line. So that is what I have been doing. I wouldn't say I'm a big expert in saying no, but I'm the person who usually takes on things multiple times. But yeah, the what is more important is not now, is for me. That's why not now for me doesn't mean no. It means just not now.
Okay, so Sandeep, we have some quick rapid fire questions for you. Let's jump into it. So, what is your favorite Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini?
I was a chat GPT. It is become my go-to partner.
Top three AI tools that you use every day other than ChatGPT.
I would say Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, and I've started using Notebook LM, basically along with the Google Agent Space, and also there's a V0 by Vercel for any kind of mock applications and prototypes.
Okay. So, one hidden feature in a popular AI tool that no one's talking about.
Okay, how can you make I play your boss? That's the feature that I think I personally want to explore. I've heard about the AI playing the role of a teacher. Like, I mean, they are like, there can be agents created to teach you something in a very structured way. But how can the AI play the role of your boss?
Okay. So, how do you do that? How do you get AI to play your boss?
I'm not saying boss as in literally boss alone, but it could be anybody. I mean, it could be like a customer. It could be any other stakeholders. Just have I play a devil's advocate on the decisions that you take as a product manager.
Your favorite strategy framework?
The one that I described earlier, why, who, what, and how. Very simple, but I think it's incredibly powerful.
Is there an AI tool PMs use that actually makes them less productive?
I wouldn't say any specific tool. It could be any or all of the tools. To be honest, let's say for example, ChatGPT itself, overusing of AI for any kind of a first draft versions without having a clarity. That is what makes them less productive. So I can't start building things without having a clarity myself. Even if I have to tell the AI to help me out, I need to have a clarity myself first, and then actually write the prompts accordingly, so that the AI can give me the first draft version of the application, or the feature, or the workflow that I'm building right now. So it's not a tool. I would say it's the overuse of or use of AI without having the clarity. That is what makes PMs less productive.
Okay. So, one book that you'd highly recommend.
I would say Wings of Fire from APJ Abdul Kalam. I mean, it's something that I go back to and refer to some of, like, even though I've kind of read it a couple of times, but I probably go to specific areas, specific chapters and lines.
Your favorite role model.
That's a difficult one. I tend to take inspirations from a lot of people. Like my very first manager who hired me into the industry like almost 2 decades back. He still happens to be my role model and mentor as well. But if you ask from a global celebrities or global known leaders perspective, I would say somebody like Satya Nadella, like how when he talks about combining technology with empathy and leadership. That's what he brings it.
Okay, great. Okay. So, Sandeep, this has been such a good conversation. Before we wrap up, where can people follow your work?
Well, thanks very much. I've actually also really enjoyed this conversation. And to answer your question, the best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. Just search for Sandeep Manepalli Gururaj. Of course, regularly share my thoughts on product management, especially around the essentials, the basics of product management. So if you're interested in learning and growing in product management, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would also take this opportunity to say that it's we cannot be we cannot grow just as individuals. There's always a community that you need to be part of. We are always part of a society or a communities. Just like that, let's try to have a community of product managers as well. So if I had to leave with a couple of takeaways, and first is ask the question why, and the second part is, product management, as I mentioned in my earlier, is about bringing together business goals, customer needs, and technical realities or limitations. So yeah, thank you very much.
Great. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Really loved having you. Everyone, make sure that you follow Sandeep and check out his content. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.